The story began with a young warrior gasping for breath, clearly in over his head as he faced off against a horrifying beast. That beast, towering and ferocious, turned out to be none other than Kiberos, the infamous wingless dragon and a high-level dungeon boss that gave even seasoned adventurers nightmares. The monster, lurking deep in the depths of level 67, unleashed a savage torrent of fire, plunging the entire party into a desperate fight for survival. Amid the chaos, the team's sorceress cried out a shaky warning, her voice laced with fear. She confessed, hands trembling, that her defensive spells probably wouldn't hold against the inferno hurtling toward them. Before anyone could react, the group's armored elder froze. His eyes locked on something in the flames, something unexpected. From the fire emerged a small green figure. A goblin. Yes, a goddamn goblin. In a high-level death trap like this, it was as out of place as a chicken in a bank robbery. The dragon snarled again, preparing another scorching breath while the adventurers just stood there, jaws collectively hitting the floor. Murmurs spread like wildfire. What in the hell was a goblin doing here? Then, like a blur, the little green menace sprang into action. It darted forward with mind-bending speed, slipped through the danger zone like it owned the place, and smashed its wooden club into the dragon's side with unholy force. And that was it. Boom. The wingless dragon hit the ground. Silence. The party just stood there, frozen like deer caught in headlights. One blonde youth in the group finally found his voice, barely managing to whisper how something so small could possibly bring down such a terrifying creature. The reality hit like a truck. Kiberos was dead. Slain in a single blow. By a goblin. Naturally, confusion spread. Had someone summoned the creature? The old man's sharp eyes spotted movement on a distant hill. Raising a hand, he pointed out a lone figure watching from afar. As the dust settled, it became clear. This mysterious figure had something to do with the goblin. Before the players could grasp what was happening, the story shifted, back in time, far from the chaos. Away from the chaos and beasts, Kim Chi-soo, our unlucky protagonist, was hard at work on a construction site. Cement bags slung over his shoulder, he wore a grin that made his coworkers suspicious. He paused to sip some water, his mind wandering. He thought of himself as nothing more than a goblin, weak, forgettable, stuck at the bottom of life's food chain. He couldn't help but feel bitter. Some people stumbled into success like it was handed to them on a silver platter. Meanwhile, guys like him just kept grinding away, gaining experience points in real life but still stuck in the tutorial zone. As he brooded, he overheard chatter about a guy named Mr. Cha, some dude who used to work construction with them but had disappeared. Turned out, Mr. Cha was now rolling in cash thanks to Gate of Heaven, a fully immersive VR game that had taken the world by storm. The game had blurred the line between fantasy and reality. Players who uncovered rare hidden classes could earn stupid amounts of money, actual, real-world cash. Kim's memory stirred. He recalled hearing about the game shortly after its launch, how it had a reputation for sucking people in until they forgot the real world even existed. Of course, the gear was expensive as hell, but thankfully internet cafes made the game accessible for broke folks like him. The game's economy had exploded. In-game items were selling for real cash, and the digital world was starting to look a hell of a lot more promising than Kim's day job. Still, as he remembered those early, exciting days of playing, a wave of sadness hit. The scene then shifted to the digital world, where Kim was in the middle of a battle, swinging away with his skill, Rock Strike. He managed to land a solid hit and earned 3 ores. Woohoo. Except not really. The reward was crap, and he was pissed. With a loud, frustrated yell, Kim cursed the game and his luck. No matter how hard he worked, nothing ever changed. Not in life. Not in this damn game. Even here, he was still broke and drowning in digital debt. Tears welled up as he screamed into the void, demanding to know when he'd finally get to be the legendary hero who saves the world, marries a hot elf lady, and retires rich. Then, just as he was about to log off and cry into his instant noodles, something sparkled nearby, an advanced healing crystal. His brain kicked into overdrive. He was so excited that he actually tasted the crystal, imagining the cool, fizzy bubbles bursting on his tongue and savoring every drop. That sucker was worth at least 300,000 won. But as fate would have it, his celebration didn't last. He sensed eyes on him and turned around, sheepish. A group of players stood behind him, watching the show. One of them, a stunning woman, stepped forward. She remarked with a smirk that she had seen him mining daily, so his skill must be pretty damn high. Kim, still recovering from embarrassment, mumbled something modest. She explained that her party had run into a problem, a massive boulder blocking their path, and none of them had the mining skills to break through. Then came the request, could Kim help? Kim hesitated. He pointed out that he was low level and that going deeper into the dungeon would basically be asking for a one-way ticket to the respawn point. Before he could finish, a short, gruff dwarf chimed in, assuring Kim he wouldn't be fighting, just mining. Kim blinked in surprise. The dwarf immediately took offense. Oh, what? You thought I'd be the one mining, huh? 'Cause I'm short and bearded? That it? Kim awkwardly shrugged as the dwarf continued grumbling about racial profiling in dungeons. After weighing the pros and cons, Kim finally agreed. Maybe this wouldn't be so bad. He might even find more valuable ores on the way. Still, something in his gut twisted. The party was deep in enemy territory, and he couldn't shake the ominous feeling. Then the beautiful woman grabbed his hand and gave a flirtatious smile and told him he was just her type, a man with strong arms and a pickaxe. Kim's brain short-circuited. He agreed on the spot, heart pounding. Soon after, they entered the cave, and boom, a monster appeared. Its name? Gay Wolf. No explanation. Just Gay Wolf. Kim panicked. It was only level 7, but still way stronger than anything he could handle. The wolf charged, and Kim screamed in sheer terror, calling for his mom like he was 5 years old again. But before the beast could rip him apart, a fire spell lit up the cave. A woman appeared like an angel of death, casting salamander flame and roasting the wolf to ashes. She walked over, cool and calm, asking if he was hurt. That was Catherine Lee, a level 39 sorceress and absolute badass. Kim could only gape at her, stunned by her power and beauty. He quickly thanked her, trying not to sound too much like a famba. Catherine warned him gently to stay close. It was dangerous out here. And for a moment, Kim dared to hope, maybe this was it. The start of his legendary love story. Then another teammate entered the scene. A muscular dude who dodged monsters like they were traffic cones, and swung his weapon like a wrecking ball. He activated Swing of the Giant Wheel and cleared the monsters with ease. With a cocky smirk, he explained they were hunting rare ore, or that could only be mined with top-tier skill. That's why Kim was here. But even though he was technically needed, the party made it pretty damn clear they saw him as nothing more than a tool with a pickaxe. Annoyed and insulted, Kim finally snapped. He marched up to a massive boulder, raised his fist, and shouted that he wasn't just a miner. He had combat skills too, damn it. With everything he had, he slammed his fist into the rock. Dust flew. Silence followed. The rock didn't even crack. The tall man and the dwarf exchanged a look, now questioning whether the treasure behind the rock even existed. Tension thickened as the tall guy turned on the dwarf, threatening serious consequences if the whole thing turned out to be BS. And Kim? He was starting to wish he just stuck to mining alone. Meanwhile, Kim felt another wave of soul-crushing humiliation wash over him. Life had already kicked him in the teeth more times than he could count, risking his neck for pocket change, getting zero respect, and now this. It felt like he'd finally hit rock bottom, and someone had the nerve to hand him a shovel. He let out a long, bitter sigh, trying to calm the fire of frustration bubbling in his gut. Just get the damn job done, he told himself. It was just another boring-ass day in the mines. Or so he thought. Then, like something out of a fantasy novel, or a fever dream, the rock wall ahead of him split open with a sharp, thunderous crack. The entire team froze, jaws practically unhinged. Behind the debris, an eerie, otherworldly glow lit up the shadows. What the hell? Kim had uncovered something no one expected, a hidden door. No, scratch that, a hidden dungeon. Shock rippled through the group like a current. Kim stood there, blinking like an idiot, trying to process what he was seeing. His voice shook with excitement as he stammered out what everyone was already thinking. This discovery could mean serious loot, maybe even a chance to unlock hidden classes. This is the jackpot, he declared, nearly giddy. For once, the universe had thrown him a bone. Catherine, ever the smartass, raised an eyebrow and fired off a sarcastic, "What, you part of the we now or something?" But Kim didn't care. Not even a little. This was it. His moment. The one where he finally broke free from the daily grind. And then, because the universe clearly had a sense of humor, it all went straight to hell. Out of nowhere, the tall man triggered PvP mode and sucker punched Kim so hard he hit the dirt like a rag doll. His health bar nosedived, 480 HP down the toilet in seconds. He groaned, coughing and gasping on the cold stone floor. "What, you think this was easy to find?" The tall man sneered, kicking Kim while he was down, literally and emotionally. Catherine chimed in, because of course she did, scoffing like the queen of petty. "Seriously? All it took was some loser with a basic mining skill?" Kim's fists clenched. The words cut deep, especially when the tall man added insult to injury, boasting that Kim was nothing more than a tag-along while they did all the real work. And that's when it clicked. These backstabbing bastards had known about the dungeon all along. They'd used him. Played him like a disposable NPC. Kim's eyes widened in disbelief. Betrayal hit him harder than the punch. Then darkness. At first, he dared to hope. Maybe they'd spared him? Maybe someone had a sliver of mercy left? But the shattered pieces of his advanced healing crystal told a different story. It had triggered automatically the moment his HP hit 0. They had killed him. And that crystal? Worth 3,000,001. Gone. Kim let out a primal scream of rage that echoed off the dungeon walls like a curse. That was it. No more playing nice. No more following orders. These assholes had taken everything, and now he had nothing left to lose. But then, through his fury, he noticed something. The dungeon door was still wide open. No one had cleared it. His eyes narrowed. His jaw set. Screw them. Screw the betrayal. If they wanted a villain, he'd give them one. Kim swore on every bruised bone in his body. He was going to flip the goddamn table. Burn the script. Write his own legend. He bolted toward the glowing entrance, yelling at the top of his lungs like a man possessed. "This dungeon is mine!" And then, because fate just couldn't resist one last kick to the ribs, he tripped. Turns out, the entrance wasn't flat. It had stairs. Kim didn't see them in time, and went flying headfirst into the stone like a sack of bricks. He bounced down step after painful step, yelping with each impact. Another 80 HP gone. Lying there in a bruised heap, he screamed up at the ceiling, voice echoing in disbelief. "Who the hell put stairs right after the entrance?" He looked up, and nearly soiled himself. There, sitting on a grotesque stone throne like it owned the damn place, was the biggest, ugliest goblin he had ever seen. This wasn't your average trash mob. This one had presence. A glowing label floated above it like some divine joke, Temple of the Goblins. Kim couldn't help but frown, part confusion, part mockery. A secret dungeon? He had expected something more majestic, maybe with a dragon or some ancient evil sealed away for 1,000 years. But goblins? Really? Still, something didn't feel right. The silence was wrong. Too heavy. Too deliberate. He glanced around, now visibly nervous. Where the hell was his team? That's when he saw it, a hand. Just there, lying limply next to him like some discarded puppet part. His breath caught in his throat as he turned his head and followed the sight. And then he froze. It was the dwarf. The same one who'd been with them. Now drenched in blood, lifeless on the cold stone floor. Kim recognized him immediately. A sickening chill rolled over him. "What the hell happened?" he muttered. A glowing game screen flickered to life in front of him, politely asking if he possessed a resurrection skill. Kim muttered a bitter "no" under his breath, then half-joked that maybe the dwarf was just being stubborn. Maybe the greedy little bastard didn't want to give up his loot rights and press the respawn button. But before he could even piece anything together, a red warning message slammed onto the screen like a punch in the face. Warning: this dungeon exceeds your current level. Leave immediately. Then came the scream. It ripped through the silence like a chainsaw through butter, loud, raw, and terrifying. Kim spun around, his heart slamming against his ribs. The scream belonged to one of his teammates. And then came the hand. A massive, nightmarish hand shot from the shadows and wrapped itself around a tall party member like he was an action figure, only to crush him with a sickening crunch. Kim stared, frozen in place. That wasn't a goblin. That was something else. Something far worse. Something that made goblins look like fluffy puppies with sticks. The creature stepped forward, revealing itself in all its grotesque glory. Towering. Monstrous. Its name appeared in the air like a sick joke: Yerger, level 80. Kim's stomach dropped. Level 80? In a goblin temple? What the actual hell? His brain screamed that this had to be a bug, or a cruel dev's idea of fun. Yerger didn't just kill. It devoured. The monster grabbed the tall man again and tore into him like he was a late-night snack. Blood. Bones. Screams. Kim's stomach churned. He clutched his chest, fighting the urge to vomit. This was supposed to be a game, goddammit. But it felt real. Too real. Then it hit him. Gate of Heaven wasn't just any VR game, it used that freaky neurosync tech. Replicated pain. Simulated trauma. He always thought the safety systems would protect him. But those only applied to low-level zones. And this? This was the opposite of low-level. Another scream tore through the air. Catherine this time. She was begging for help. Kim's body locked up. He didn't move. What the hell could he do against that? His thoughts raced. Panic spiraled. He remembered something from the forums. Cases where pain levels got too high could cause real-world consequences. Brain trauma. Even death. That was it. Fear kicked in. Raw primal fear. He turned and ran. Away from the screams. Away from the monster. Away from everything. He panted, stumbling over debris, cursing under his breath. Hell no. I'm not dying here. Not like this. As Kim ran, his thoughts spun like a broken record. It wasn't his fault. They had left him. They had betrayed him first. He repeated it to himself, over and over, like some desperate mantra trying to hold his sanity together. Just then, a strange message blinked in front of his eyes like a cosmic middle finger from the universe. The Goblin Lord senses a resemblance between you and him, in cowardice and weakness. Kim froze in his tracks. What the hell did that mean? He turned slowly, sitting atop a throne like some smug bastard. The Goblin Lord watched him, silent, calm, judging. Was that really him? Cowardly? Weak? He clenched his fists, teeth grinding like a rusty machine on the verge of breakdown. He stared up at the Goblin Lord with a voice that trembled, not with fear, but with the heartbreak of someone who'd finally had enough. I don't want to be that way, he muttered, his words soaked in anger and grief. His eyes flicked to the side, where Catherine's groveling for mercy but monster stepped on her without mercy. Blood splattered. He started trauma dumping on the goblin, unloading everything. The soul-crushing debt his absentee parents left behind. The endless string of failed job interviews. The quiet humiliation of being ignored, overlooked, invisible. Nobody gave a damn about Kim Chi-soo. Not in the real world. Not in this damn game. He hadn't asked for any of this. He just wanted to be strong for once, to fight monsters, to stand tall. But what did they do? They shoved him into mining. Mining. Like he was some background NPC in his own life. Tears spilled down his face. He stormed forward, eyes locked on the Goblin Lord, fury pulsing through every step. You're just a damn goblin, he growled. Who the hell are you to judge me? His voice broke, cracked from rage and exhaustion. Even in real life, they look down on me. Even in this stupid game, they spit on me. And now you? A goblin? You pity me too? Then came the scream, a desperate, ugly roar as he confessed the truth out loud. Fine. I am a nobody. And there's nothing wrong with that. At that exact moment, the universe, or maybe just the game devs, decided to drop a surprise. A new message flashed in front of him. Congratulations. You have become an honorary goblin. Goblins will now aid you at any time. Wait, what? Before he could process that gem, another message followed. You have fulfilled the conditions to unlock a hidden class. Would you like to change your class to Goblin Summoner? Kim stared at the screen like it had just slapped him. What the actual hell is a Goblin Summoner? Despite the potential of this once-in-a-lifetime moment, Kim told the system exactly what he thought of its nonsense. Ridiculous, he snapped. You think I want to become some creepy goblin whisperer? No thanks. But the system didn't care. Coldly it replied. Class change complete. And that was that. Just like the rest of his life, no one listened. Before he could start screaming, fate kicked him again. The monster, Jagger, returned, bellowing like the world's worst ringtone. Out of options, Kim clenched his jaw and activated one of his brand new, goblin-themed skills. With a flash of green and a shriek that sounded like a blender full of squirrels, a tiny goblin appeared. It looked pathetic. A scrawny, bug-eyed thing that screamed in a pitch high enough to summon dogs. Kim stared at it. You've got to be kidding me, he muttered. Whatever. He could use it as bait. Go get him, he yelled at the goblin, pointing dramatically at Jagger. Take that bastard down! And to everyone's surprise, including Kim's, the little green freak actually charged. Jagger lunged, ready to rip it in half. Kim turned to run. But he didn't get far. He turned back just in time to see the scrawny goblin obliterate Jagger with a single, devastating blow. Damage numbers lit up the screen like fireworks on New Year's. 100 million. Jagger collapsed. Dead. For real. Kim stood frozen, his brain completely unable to compute what had just happened. System messages piled in like junk mail. New skill acquired, goblin feeding. New skill acquired, goblin walking. Your summoned goblin's experience has skyrocketed. Kim blinked. The tiny gremlin had apparently been max level all along. His thoughts snapped back to the moment Jagger had ripped through the tall man from his team, tearing him apart like paper, and now here he was, being saved by a goblin that looked like it could barely lift a toothpick. And yet, it had killed a monster that no one else could. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay ahead, because you never know when life's gonna toss you a goblin and call it destiny.